Okay, so this is Mn3, but I didn't hit record at the beginning. So we're solving by elimination because the problems are set up to be elimination. And then the first thing in the front, we multiply by the other number with these arrows, and then we distribute it. Okay, now, because the signs aren't opposite, use another color if you have one, and you're going to change all the signs of one row. Now, you can either change the signs of the top row or the bottom row. Okay, so if you don't have opposites, so let's write a note here. If you don't have opposites, change all signs in one row. And us writing these messages means we have less examples to do. That's why we only had 4 examples yesterday, because the message is more important. Okay, so when you add them, now you get 0, right? Okay, and then here I get what? Negative 13y equals negative 39. And then we're in the situation of where you were on the first homework assignment. How do I get rid of the negative 13? And then when you divide by the exact same number. Negative divided by negative is a positive. How many 13s do you need to get to 39? Yeah, 3. Now, there's 2 answers to these because you need a coordinate. So write last step. Okay, last step is to find the other letter. Now, the reason I label it is because I sometimes have space, like maybe over here. So no one can follow my work if I write it over here, but if I write last step, then everybody can find it. Okay, so last step means you take one of the equations. So you can pick one. Most people pick the top one. So most people pick the top one, and then they put this number in. If I were deciding, I like the bottom one better because it doesn't have any negatives. But normally people pick the top one, but you're allowed to pick the top or the bottom. So 3x minus 7, and then you put the 3 right here. Yes, plug it in, perfect. And then what do we do with the 7 and the 3? Is that 10 or 21? Yeah, exactly. So minus 21. Multiply, I agree. Negative 6. And then now I solve for x. And how do I solve for x? Add 21. Down 6, up 21. Right, you have to subtract because they're different signs. Okay. 15 positive, right? Divide by 3, x equals 5. Okay, and then the answer is a coordinate, just like last night's homework. So this is the answer, which would be 5, 3. Which means they only met for lunch. So if anybody cared, it would be consistent, independent. But I don't think they asked that question tonight. Let me check. I believe they usually just ask that for graphing. Yeah, that's it. Okay. If ever you can't hear, just log out and log back in. Since I'm basing it on chats that you type, if you log back out and log back in, it's not like I'm going to take attendance at exactly that moment and then, and then you're going to be marked absent. Okay. Guys ready for the next one? Let's see if there was one from, I'm taking the solving by graphing questions and turning them into solving by elimination. Let's see. Oh. But that one's not bad. No, I think I'll make up my own. Okay. Everybody got that one? Okay, so example 2. Okay, we have 2x minus 7y equals -5, and 9x plus 3y equals 12. Okay, so the plan is to do the switching thing. And then I'm going to show you in example 3, I'm going to show you a way to be a little more creative. If you want to think to save yourselves maybe big numbers, but you have to think more. So, and it only sometimes works. So the way I'm showing you with the arrows works every single time. Okay. So what number do I put on the top row? And then you're going to put it on the right side too. And then put the parentheses, because you're definitely going to want to distribute it to both. And lots of time people only multiply it by the 2 and they forget the 7. Okay, how about the bottom row? 2, I agree. I'm going to put that on both sides. And then we're going to distribute. Okay, I usually write it to the right for organization. 18x minus 63y equals -45. Okay, these numbers are pretty big this time. 18x plus 6y equals 24. And then multiply by a negative. Change the signs. Now you can change the signs of the top one. You guys, I don't want to have a bunch of negatives. How about I change the signs at the top? Okay, usually I change the signs at the bottom, so I'm just going to be consistent. But if you want, you could change the signs at the top or the bottom. The reason I had to change the signs is because I wanted this to be a 0. So just write the word add here. Okay, -69y. That's bad luck. Okay, -69. Okay, that's so funny, you guys. I just made up this question. The answer is 1, 1, and I just tried to make a question that was real easy to work out. And then I got this controversial number in the middle of my problem. Okay, y equals, what's a negative divided by a negative? Positive. Positive what number? Positive 1. Okay, now I don't want to waste space and continue writing down. So usually I go over here and I write last step. As long as I write last step, you can write it anywhere you want. I like the second equation better. So you get to pick which equation, but the second equation has all positives. So let's use that one instead. Okay, what do we do with the y equals 1? Yep. So 9x plus 3 times 1 equals 12. Right? And then you know x, y is first. I mean, x is first, y is second. But in this case, I made it have the same answer. Okay. You guys remember doing elimination? Okay. And you did it a little in geometry also, right? When you were solving equations? Like you were in the middle of a geometry problem and occasionally you had an x and a y? Yeah. Okay, so let's look at this one. 4x minus 2y equals 6. Negative 6x plus 3y equals -9. Okay. Now I can do the opposite thing, which will work. So I'm going to show you a couple ways on example 3. One way is the opposite way. not opposite, because it's not opposite signs, but like the other number. Okay, and we're going to do these as like half examples. I just want to show you the setup. Now, it's real important that these red numbers in the front, make them positive. Because like this one, if I had made that -6, they're both going to turn out to be -24. Whereas if I don't make the 6 negative, they're already opposites. So I'll save myself a step. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this one, but we're not going to do the whole question. Okay, we're going to stop right here. Well, actually, we are going to do the whole question because there's only like one more step. This is kind of cool. Okay, add. Look what we get. What do you get on this side? Okay, so this actually, I grabbed one of the graphing problems. So this is actually one that the lines would have been the same line. Okay, but when you're solving with elimination, you're like, wait, what happened? There's no more letters. Okay, so write this. If there's no more letters, then you're going to write true or false. So do you feel like this one's true or do you feel like this one's false? What if you had 8 equals 0? That'd be false, right? Okay, so 0 equals 0 is true. So you're going to write true. And for trues, you write infinitely many. Let me spell that out for you because you're going to have to write that on your test and a quiz eventually. Infinitely many. This is an E. Solutions. Okay. So that's the one where the two lines are on top of each other. So last night on one of your homeworks, you would have had that. Okay. Yeah, so this one's actually true. Okay, I want to show you something though. Look at this question again. I didn't have to, so we're going to put a big or. If you look at 4 and 6, what would be your common denominator if they were fractions? You know, like 1/4 and 1/6. What would you use? That's a common factor. So you guys are on the right track, but I want a common denominator. So if I was doing a common denominator, what bottoms would I make them both? I kind of like this. This is like a class vote, right? What are you thinking? You feel like 12? Okay, so I can make them both 12. Now this is the creativity. If you want, you just multiply by the other number and you're set. So you can just multiply by the other number and not think of that common denominator. Okay, so or you could multiply this one. How do I make this one 12? So I could make them 12x on both. So how do I make this one a 12? Yeah, I would multiply by 3. And then how would I make this one a 12? And always do positives in the front. How do I make the bottom one a 12? Yeah. And we won't finish that. I just want to show you. And then we'll just put etc. Okay. Cool. Let me show you another one. Okay, so example 4. And you guys, I have this actual document. So if you ever need, like you're missing something in the examples, I can send this actual document to you if you've been in class paying attention and commenting. You know, you're like, oh, wait, I'm missing this one part of example 3. I could send this paper to you. Okay. This is how I actually teach in class too. It just shows up on my television. So when we're back in school, instead of looking on your computer screen, you'll just be looking forward at my big, like 75-inch TV. Okay. And then I used to use my overhead projector, but it was so like dim that I just bought a TV and started using my tablet, and it was pretty awesome. Okay, let's see. Oh, let's look at this one. Okay, so 3x minus 8y equals 3. I'm trying to alter a question and still make it work out right. 2x minus 4y equals 4. Let me just make sure before we do it that it's going to work. Switch and make it okay. Now, one way, and we're not going to do the whole way, okay? So I just want to show you one way is to multiply the top row by 2 and the bottom row by 3. That's the way that's fastest. Okay, or, let's put an or. And I don't think this is a half example. We're not going to get to the end. Okay, so we're not going to go all the way to the end. I just want to show you the beginning. Or you could look at the y's. Okay, so I want to give you some creativity possibilities, but this will be up to you. So if you look at the y's, how can you make those match? Anyone have an idea? What could I multiply by to make those match? Okay, I agree. Which equation would you want to multiply by 2? I agree. What if I just multiplied the bottom one by 2? Now, would that be faster? Or multiplying the top row by 2 and the bottom row by 3? Technically, the bottom one's faster, but it takes more thinking because you have to be looking at the y's and say, oh, I kind of like the y's. Let me do the y's. So it's going to be your choice. Okay, so you do get a lot of choices. If you used to remember having confusion with these, just multiply this way. This way is less thinking. I mean, you guys, you're still doing a math problem. So I'm not saying that it's like you're not thinking, but you're not analyzing like, well, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. And then which one am I going to choose? You just do the same thing every time, which is kind of nice. Okay, so this is 4x minus 8y equals 8. Now, are they opposite yet? Are my y's opposite? Am I going to get 0 when I add? No. So what's my plan? Change all the signs of the bottom one. Or the top one, you get to pick. But sometimes you're like, I don't want to pick, I just want to rule. So negative 1x, 0, equals negative 5. How do you get x alone? Mm-hmm. And then when you do last step, wherever you have space, pick one of your equations. I usually pick the top. And again, that's a thinking. If you could just always pick the top, and then it's faster. Or you can say, which one do I like better? But then that takes more time to answer the question of who do I like better? This one's a little backwards. What do we do for this one? This is surprising. I picked this from one of last night's homeworks. I'm surprised it's giving me a, like it didn't intersect at a pretty point. Yeah, because usually, you guys see, did I make an error? Yeah. This was number, let me show you. This is number 17 from last night's homework. Did it hit at a fraction on 17 from homework number 2? Oh, that's funny. Okay, so you could see where it would be valuable to do elimination instead of graphing. Because if it hits at a decimal, then you're only guessing. That's funny. So 3/2. This is the answer I would give, but if you were graphing, it would have been like 1.5. This was number 17 from homework 2. So then you had to guess where did any of you get that they hit at 5, 1.5 from last night? Look at your math homework number 2. It's kind of cool. Usually you've already given it to me, right? And then you don't even have a copy. Okay, that's cool. But I mean, this is definitely more effective than randomly guessing. What if it hit at 1.4? I mean, we wouldn't have known on a picture of a graph. That's really cool. So you kind of got elimination? I don't want to confuse you with substitution today. So you're just going to practice elimination on all the problems. Sounds good? They're all in elimination form. Okay. Okay. So I am going to stop this video, but we're going to start again in just a minute.